Imagine if a guy walked into a fancy party today wearing eyeliner, a bit of blush, maybe some lip color. People would definitely notice. Probably not in a good way. But if you traveled back like 300 years and showed up at a royal court without makeup on, that's when people would look at you funny. You'd basically look like you rolled out of bed and forgot to get dressed. So what happened? How did we go from makeup is a men's thing to makeup is basically only for women? That's what we're digging into today. Let's start way back in ancient Egypt. Everyone's probably seen the eyeliner look, that thick black kohl around the eyes. And yeah, Cleopatra's famous for it, but here's the thing. Pharaohs wore it too. And it goes way deeper than just looking good. See, the pharaoh wasn't just a king. He was considered the living embodiment of the god Horus on earth. There's this myth where Horus loses an eye in a battle with his uncle Set, and it gets magically restored, becoming a symbol of protection, healing, and power. That symbol is literally called the Eye of Horus. And guess what the classic Egyptian eyeliner look is designed to mimic? That exact symbol. So every time a pharaoh lined his eyes, he was visually broadcasting that he is divine, protected, and has authority. Priests wore kohl during temple purification rituals. Soldiers put it on before battle, believing it gave them protection and strength. And there was a class angle too. Wealthy Egyptians used kohl from expensive imported minerals in gold or alabaster containers, while regular people used simpler local versions. The more elaborate your makeup, the more status you were flexing, for men and women both. So in Egypt, makeup was tangled up with religion, health, status, and power. A normal part of life for anyone who could pull it off, regardless of gender. Fast forward to Rome and Greece, and the power signal shifts slightly. Wealthy men used oils, perfumes, sometimes pale powders. This time, it was less about signaling divinity, but more about showing off that you are not some random guy working in the fields who's exposed to the sun all day, so it was still a status marker, just a more secular one. Now here's where it gets really interesting. In 18th century France and Versailles, makeup was used a lot by the royal court. This was the time where makeup among men was as popular as ever. Makeup was your entry ticket into the aristocracy. Noblemen wore powdered wigs, white face powder, rouge, and little fake beauty marks called mouche. It wasn't really subtle, it was the uniform. If you showed up without it, you didn't just look plain, but you looked like you didn't belong, like you might actually be a commoner. Makeup was a wall keeping the elite separate from everyone else. So at this point, men are, if anything, actually more into makeup than women. But then, the French Revolution happens, and suddenly everything associated with the aristocracy becomes dangerous to be seen wearing. Powdered wigs and rouge aren't fashion anymore, but they became a target on your back. Around the same time, the Enlightenment pushes a new idea of manhood. Rational, plain, hardworking, and no frills. And notice the power move here. This new real man image was partly built by the rising middle class to distinguish themselves from the aristocracy they'd just torn down. Vanity gets rebranded as dishonesty and weakness. Makeup goes from proof you belong to the elite to proof you're not a serious man. That idea sticks for over 100 years. Meanwhile, makeup on women wasn't exactly thriving either. In the Victorian era, respectable women barely wore visible makeup. It was linked to actresses and, let's just say, women in less reputable professions. Makeup is a marker of not being respectable for anyone. The real turning point for women comes in the early 1900s, and this time, the power players aren't kings or revolutionaries. It's advertisers. Hollywood shows up, movie stars need makeup for film, and companies like Max Factor build entire businesses selling that same glamorous look to regular women. This time, the power move is commercial. An entire industry gets built specifically around telling women that makeup equals beauty, and beauty equals worth. By the 1920s, wearing makeup isn't just accepted for women, it's expected. And notice what's happening with this makeup is a women's thing rule that feels so ancient to us. It's really only about 100 years old, invented mostly by marketers, not tradition. So that's the why. Now let's talk about where things are actually heading because the power dynamics are shifting again. In South Korea, men's skincare and grooming has become genuinely mainstream. BB cream, concealer, brow gel, no stigma attached. That aesthetic spread through K-pop, one of the biggest cultural exports on the planet right now, which gives it serious cultural weight instead of being some niche thing. Then there's TikTok, where boy makeup became a real trend, guys doing full skin prep, concealer, mascara, just posting it, no big controversy, just content. This time, the power isn't a king or an ad agency, it's algorithms and individual creators normalizing it one video at a time. None of this means we're heading back to Versailles exactly, but it does show that men not wearing makeup isn't some fixed law of nature which makes you more feminine. It's more of a cultural setting that different power structures kept resetting depending on what they needed men to signal, be it divinity, wealth, aristocracy, rugged honesty, or just individuality. Which kind of brings us back to where we started. Show up at a party in eyeliner today, some people side-eye you. Show up at Versailles without any color on your face, they'd be side-eyeing you. Neither one is some universal truth about men and makeup. It's just whoever held the cultural power at the time deciding what belonging looked like. So if you're a guy watching this and wondering about makeup, don't be afraid to try it out. In the end, whether you wear makeup or not tells you nothing about how masculine or strong you are, and history shows it.